So this is a sculpture representing my beautiful country. And when I created it, I was so aware that you can't love yourself or love another person or love your country unless you're conscious of and acknowledge all parts. The beautiful and the ugly and the hard and the easy and the parts that you want to embrace and the parts that you want to push away. And so that's what this piece started with. It started with this bottom part here, which is the roots, representing the roots of our country. And this piece here kept calling to me, kept saying, I want to be part of this. And it made no sense to me. And I put it aside and I worked on the whole thing and didn't put this piece on until the very, very end when everything was done. And for me, that piece represents power and domination. And that's what this is all about. That's what our roots are about. Starting with this area right here, which is the part of the Native American. So this is a, what do you call those? An arrowhead and a broken pot and the turquoise jewelry, just representing the Native American. But I had to put a skull with it because of the devastation, the rape that happened there in order for this country to be. And then I went to the part here which represents the slavery African American heritage here, starting with cotton. And I knew that this part had to be very descriptive and very real. There wasn't any way to sort of make it pretty. So I have two nooses. And between the two nooses, there's a head, head of an African American. And the hair on that head is actually hair that I got from a family when I was in Ghana last time, when somebody was giving their daughter a haircut. So I know that that's real hair, even though it doesn't really show. And as I was working on this whole part, and realized there was a lot of blood, a lot of bloodshed, and a lot of pain, and there was no way for me to hold it. I felt like I couldn't go past what that pain and devastation was all about. And then I decided that the only way to really come to grips with it was to have hands holding this history, holding this memory. And so I looked in my studio for gloves, which I decided would be representative of the hands. And interestingly enough, I didn't have two gloves that matched. I had a black one and a white one. And again, it was perfect. Without my realizing it, that's exactly what it needed to be. It needed to be all of us, black people, white people, holding our shared history. Our experiences are different, but the history is what it was, and we needed to hold that together. And there are shards of glass in each of the hands, representing the pain of what this was all about. And in the center of each palm is a heart, because only from finding our love individually and collectively can we move beyond our history into something more. And then I put this fabric, this very sheer fabric, over the top of our history and a mirror underneath, because it needs to be reflected back to us all the time, but it has to be muted somewhat. We can't just live with the raw history right in our faces all the time, or we'd never move beyond. And then I started up the branch of the tree. And this part, like the rest of it, it had so many iterations. And when I finally put this silver piece on, I had no idea what it was again. And as I was describing it to someone, I said, you know, it kind of looks like a helix. And so I looked up helix, which of course is the structure of our DNA, which is our basic coding for everything in our bodies. And a helix also is a symbol in a lot of cultures. In the Celtic tradition, it's the spiral going up toward the sun. It's moving toward life. And when I read that, I thought, perfect, perfect. It's moving toward life, but the history is still here. And around and inside this helix are these images of women. And one of the things that I most love and appreciate about this country is that as women, we can have our power here. We can find our power and express our power. So that's going up through this symbol of our basic genetic code, our life. And the whole thing is, this top part is not about individual pieces as much as about the beauty and the complexity of what this country is. The feathers moving up toward the sky, the beauty of our landscape, having national parks and open space that's protected. And it's all of these materials are totally natural except for these metal pieces, but they're real feathers and real plant pieces. And it's just the beautiful organic process, complex process that this country is. And it is still reflected from our history and from our roots. So this is my piece, my beautiful country.